Hey guys, it's your friendly neighborhood Dell with a really stupid tutorial. Okay, so this is going to cover how to flat color things basically with the threshold technique. It's basically just a way to make your flat colors go really, really fast instead of having to spend forever filling in colored areas. So you can get down to the part that is actually fun, the shading and detailing and all that fun stuff. This is just to get the general gist of stuff. So here we have a picture that I inked. I digitally inked this, but you can use something that you scanned and inked or scanned as a pencil or whatever you want. But this is something that I inked on the computer. But if you zoom in, you can tell that, like, I inked it and it looks really nice. Like, you can see all the anti-aliasing and all the lines. So, I mean, you could color it like this, I guess, but it would, you know, take forever because you just have to do everything by hand. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna make a copy of the background and then fill what's underneath the background with the color. It doesn't matter. It's just, like, to help yourself. And then you go image. Well, you can zoom in just to see exactly what you're doing. Image, adjustments, threshold. This is Photoshop CS2, by the way, so any Photoshop can do this, really. And then you threshold it, and it makes the lines, you know, anti-aliased. Or non-anti-aliased. God, I'm the worst tutorialist. I probably picked the wrong picture for this, but let me show you what else you can do. See, this picture's kind of small, so another good thing that you can do with this technique is blow things up without losing any quality. So it's an 8x12 at 300 dpi, which means it's 2400 by 3600. But so say I'm like, I want it to be an 11x17. So I blow it up to be 17, and I'm like, ooh, blurry pixels, yay, I'm so pleased I did that. But with the threshold technique, threshold basically makes everything either just black or just white. And so when you blow something up and threshold it, you know, the lines can't be blurry because they're either black or white. And this little slider on threshold changes how much it looks at black or how much it looks at white. So, you know, it's usually somewhere in the middle, but if you have something particular you're looking at, like I'm like, maybe her nose needs to be darker around the edge, or maybe I don't want it to connect quite there, so I'm just gonna go with that. One of the main things with this technique is you want to try and make sure all of your, like, friggin' lines aren't closed. So let me do it again! Like, this is like real life. So if I do it a little bit more, that line becomes closed, because what we're gonna do is we're just gonna go crazy with a fill bucket. So now that this is thresholded, it's either black or white, we can get the magic wand tool, which we want to make sure is not contiguous, not anti-aliased, and sample all layers, doesn't matter. So we select just the white, delete it, ta-da, you have lines that are clear. So I preserve the transparency on these lines so that we can't mess them up, and now we have lines. So I'm going to rename this lines, and between the background and the lines, make a new layer and we'll see flats. And this is another way to flatten an image and have all of your flats on one layer without having to worry about like having a billion layers. Because one of the things people do to, you know, fill in colors is like have a separate layer for each color, which I've definitely done in the past, and it is a pain in the butt, and it makes the files huge. So we'll go behind the gradient tool, or depending on which Photoshop you have, might be somewhere else. But we'll find the paint bucket. You want to say contiguous, all layers, not anti-aliased, as usual. And another thing we can grab is we can go grab the pencil tool, because the pencil tool is never anti-aliased. So that means we're working in straight pixels. So we can just grab a color that's like it's kind of close. It doesn't even matter. It doesn't have to be the right color. And we go in flats with our fill bucket, and we just start fill bucketing things. Yeah, fill bucket, a magic adventure. This is her eyebrow too, I think. This is my, oh god. This is my fan art of Marlowe being young from Uncharted 3. BTW. So what I just did is I filled in the hand, and there's a hole in the hand, so it leaked out. But one thing you can do to not have to select it, not have to do anything, you're like, take your pencil tool with the color you're on, fill the gap, whoop, there it was, that's the gap. Fill it in, done. Look, there, I flatted most of that. And if there's little details, like obviously her fingernails and stuff, you can kind of just go back in, or you can make this pencil tool bigger and go back in and, you know, draw it all in. There you go. La 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 la. La 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 la. Oops. You know, and then you do that for everything. You're like, I want her suit to be pink for right now. Like, this is the other thing. Colors don't matter right now. Like, you can just fill in whatever you're looking at. And the way that this is helpful is that, like, if you can fill things in with a color they're not actually, it's very useful to see where you filled in stuff and where you haven't yet. And that's why we have that purple background, because it makes it really easy to find gaps and holes and, like, over here, that didn't get filled in. This getting filled in. These little hatch marks. Because if you're working in really subtle colors, sometimes it's hard to tell where the colors are overlapping or what things you've hit and what things you haven't hit. And so it's very useful to do it this way. I'm just doing this super rough, obviously. And then I guess, like, you know, her hair. So some things are still going to take longer than others, and if you get into a place where that's really messy, like this hair, where you're like, oh my gosh, there's so many lines, I can't fill bucket why can't I fill bucket all these lines? Take your lasso, make sure it's unchecked anti-aliasing, and then just select it using your lasso tool. And fill. And there you go. Just hitting all these super fast. La 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 la. See, this is not taking very long at all, because I'm just kind of like, as long as it's under the lines, you're all good. See? And then what you end up having, you know, once all of this would be flatted, which I'm not going to do because this is just an example, you can look at your flats layer that is just this. And like I said, all of it is non-anti-aliased, so you have these like perfect chunky pixel edges on everything. And the reason this is great is because since everything is just like a flat one color, you can take your magic wand, not an anti-aliased magic wand, and not contiguous either. And you can just select and be like, here's this pink thing, and now it's brown. Like, now her outfit is brown. Or you can select something and be like, that's slightly too dark, let me just use this lightness slider on it. And what's also great is you can do things like this. Like, say you're like, I want to shade this with purple or something, and I'm like, this is what I want to shade, is this area. La la la. Oops, I kind of drew walking ants all over her face, but I didn't want to shade that part, so I can go onto the flats layer, use the magic wand, make it subtracting, click on her skin, and now I have made the shading only on her hair. So that's the kind of the gist of this. Or what you can do is you can, you know, get a selection, grab it from the flats, go up, and new layer. Hopefully you can follow me on this one. A new layer, just started shading, and as long as this selection is here, ta-da, it sits on there. And we can also do things like, oh, I want her shirt to be pinstriped. Let me find some stupid patterns. Here's Sherlock Holmes' plaid pattern from a comic I did. Multiply. You're like, why isn't it only on her jacket? Okay. Well, I went on the flats layer, use the magic wand, go back onto this layer that has the pattern, make a mask only that area, and ta-da, you now have a pattern that can sit right there. All of these things, using the flats that you did and not having to go back and erase again, not having to go back and change again, you know, just the way it is. And then of course, since your lines are on their own layer, very easy to go back in and color your lines as well. So it kind of just using this technique sets you up to be able to do anything and, you know, do it very easily. This is not going to work for painting very well, you know, because it's all hard-edged and it's all very separated. But if you're looking for cell style, or you're looking for just a quick way to lay down colors and do a few little things here and there, it's a pretty nice way to do it. So there you go. That's my super fast tutorial about how to color crap. And for those of you worried about, you know, it being all like, oh my gosh, it's gonna look like crap when I save it out because, you know, those lines are all pixelated. Here's one I did that's all finished. This is my friend's art. So this one's all finished, and you can see, you zoom in, you see all these pixelated edges. Because of where, you know, the anti-alias, the thresholding goes. But where is it? Once you size it down and save it out, no one can tell. You can't tell because, you know, you have to work at something big. So I guess that's another thing. Work big. Work at 300 dpi, and then all that should work out. So there you go. Hopefully that helps somebody. Thanks for listening. Ciao out.